Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about tragedies from ICM. It's a kit from military series, and as you can see, it's a World War II German truck in 135 scale. So we have V3000S or SSM, and as you can see, it has this tracked rear part, so it might be an interesting choice for some diorama builds. And of course, we have a commercial sample of this kit, and it means that you will get exactly the same stuff as what you will see in this video review. And first of all, I have to note that the box size is typical for such type of kit from ICM, so here is comparison with my hand. We also have the kit number here is 35410, and the box art itself is quite nice. So just like on any other previous release from ICM. So here you can also see the small history note and some information about the kit. I will just take a look as well. So there are 313 parts, and length of the finished model will be 182 millimeters. It's written here. And that's the history note. On the opposite side, you can see 3 marking options which are included into the kit. Of course, we will check them when we will be opening the assembly manual, because usually they print the marking guides there. So just give me a moment. I will try to cut through the stickers which are actually sealing the top part in place, and then we will start gradually checking all of the elements which are inside. In the meantime, I can also remind you that we checked the previous releases of this V3000S, and you can find them on our YouTube channel. Just type in the ICM number kit, and you will find some interesting releases in the same scale. So that's the typical box design for ICM. Here you can see that this part is flexible and it does not provide any protection whatsoever. And then this sturdy white cardboard box will actually protect everything inside. And if I open it, here is what we have inside. So all frames are packed into one plastic bag as far as you can see. So we will be opening it right now and checking what is actually supplied here. So just give me a moment. Let's take out all of them. First, on the top we have this small plastic bag with the clear parts. So I will just open it as well. It's a resealable plastic bag, so quite cool. Might come handy in our hobby for sure. So I will place it here. Let's zoom in as much as we can, because here, as you can see, we get nice clear parts for the front cap. We also get those lenses, and I'm not sure if we will actually get the masks included. So if there are no masking templates, you will have to cut them by your own. Next, we continue with the first gray plastic sprue. It's a sprue B, and here we have quite an interesting thing. So you can notice that the part numbers are written in this direction, but the letter for the sprue is written here in quite opposite direction, so that's something interesting to note. Nevertheless, on this frame we get the parts for the front cap, and note that the front cap should be glued out of many panels, so I would recommend to be careful while joining all of this stuff together, and definitely check out how the fitment goes. Of course, it might be also beneficial to plan the painting, let's say, strategy, because some of the parts will be hard to reach once they are glued together. Nevertheless, it's really cool that we get the doors molded separately. Probably you can open them on your truck. And if I flip it over, here inside you will find the push marks, but don't worry, the door panels, they should be molded separately as far as I remember. Note that the rear wall of the front cap is also having some push marks, which is quite, I would say, strange. Nevertheless, for the front cap, as far as I remember, we should use this one, the boxy structure. So here you can see probably the new parts, and note that also we have the dashboard, some slightly different front panels, and maybe I'll zoom in so that you can check all of these new parts a bit closer. So overall molding quality looks fine. We again get the separate doors, so in this sense the new design is not different from the previous one, and of course the squarish design should make it easier to work with these parts, and maybe the openable doors might come handy for some diorama ideas. As long as you have some figurines or maybe some items to place in the front cap, then why not? And here, if I flip it over, note that we have less push marks. So that kind of points at the modern molding technology, but there are still some of the push marks present. So that's why do not underestimate this kit. Still some work will be required. Next, we continue with the sprue E. So here we have all of the necessary parts for the tracked part of the drivetrain. And as you can see, we get the plastic tracks, we get the road wheels, we get the suspension parts. The suspension here is quite tricky, so it will take some time to assemble. The same can be said about the tracks. Even though we have the one-piece track links here, we also have the single-piece links. So they will have to be joined around the sprockets. So you can see the sprockets here, and that will take some time. Definitely use the method with curing green glue when you apply it over the tracks. Let it to dry a bit, and then you get the flexible tracks to fix in a final position on the suspension parts. But of course, if you have some your own personal methods and tips on how to work with such elements, feel free to share in the comment section. I will be happy to learn something new. Nevertheless, what we see here is really nice, I would say, molding quality, and the level of details is acceptable for this scale. So the only thing you should be ready is the tracks assembly. It will be definitely not a fast process to work through. Next, we continue with the sprue A. So here we have the chassis parts. We also get the engine. So out of the box, you get a nicely detailed engine. Maybe it would be also a wise idea to add some wiring here. But as you can see, ICM decided to include a lot of things, both for the drivetrain, for the suspension. And this is actually useful. Again, if you plan some diorama in 1/35 scale, you can use all of these opportunities for even more realistic appearance. So definitely a welcome thing to have. It will not take a lot of time to get all of these things together, but it will definitely give you a completely different appearance. So I always welcome such add-ons, and I think they are important in this scale. Next, we continue with the sprue. It's not even written which letter is it. At least I don't see it, but we have here the road wheels and also parts for the rear section, so for the open bed. And as you can see, there are no, I would say, separate parts for the minor elements on the rear bed. So as you can see, they are pre-molded, these locks. I was just removing some of the plastic bits which were here on the plate. We also get the plastic wheels. So of course this is a great thing to have, definitely better than the typical vinyl offering, but note that we do not get any features on the tire walls. At least I do not see them so far. So maybe I will bring it closer so that you can understand what I'm talking about. But still, again, it's a good thing to have. It will be easier to paint. It will be also easier to apply some weathering on these parts. So I think all modelers will be happy. Sorry. And next we continue with decals. So decals, as usual, it's not mentioned where they are printed, but we get all necessary symbols for 3 marking options. As you remember, we also get the dials for the instrument panel, which is also quite cool. And of course, ICM decals are quite easy to handle, so I don't think you will have any issues here. And next we continue with the assembly manual. So here I have to zoom out a bit, maybe close the lenses, and you will see what we are talking about. So it's a typical ICM brochure. We have short history note on the first page, and then next we continue with the parts map here. Maybe I'll close the lenses even more. So the red color means that these parts will not be used, and as you can see, this classic front cap will not be used. Some of the plastic wheels will not be used as well, and that might be handy for some scratch building. I guess some modelers will be happy to learn that. And assembly process starts with the main chassis. So that's why I was saying it is important to plan in advance how you will be painting these parts, because as you can see, for example, here we work on the engine, it gets installed on the front chassis, and then the question is how you will reach it later in order to paint. The same can be said about the spare wheel, which goes right onto the main chassis. And here we continue with the radiator, also some supports for the rear part of the truck. Front bumper, exhaust. Also we start working on the tracked section of the vehicle, and here I can see that it will be a lot of fun because, as you remember, we have the separate track links, and also you have to assemble a lot of road wheels, suspension parts. So again, these elements will be a bit tricky to paint and weather, but note that you can actually assemble them separately. So it's quite an interesting design because then you install all of this sub-assembly onto the main chassis, so maybe this will simplify the painting process. Next, we continue with the front cap. So as you remember, we are working on this boxy design, and again we have the separate parts for the doors, even though manufacturer does not show that you can open the door, but I guess it's not hard thing to replicate. And that's not something what you can say about the front bonnet, because as you can see, it is assembled as a single piece part and there are not that many opportunities to actually open it. Next, we continue with the rear bed. Here we also get the supports for the tarpaulin in case you need one. And next, last but not the least, is two marking options from 1944 and also the same year here, and one more here. It's a winter version from the same year again. And note also this nice weathered finish of the white paint over the green camouflage. So that might be something fun to replicate. But overall, I think we get a quite great kit in 135 scale. It should be already available, so you can get it, for example, in Modelimex. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion. Write it here in the comment section below. And if you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.